Hello everyone, my name is Melina Flores and today we are going to talk about economic deprivation. The association between money and health is one of our big crises in the world today. There are many humans affected by economic status, mostly the ones that do not have nothing, the poor ones. These are the most affected ones. Starting with our future, the children, they experience different patterns of family economic deprivation during childhood. Many children are born into and raised in families that never experience economic deprivation, while some other children are exposed chronically to economic deprivation. Other children's family economic circumstances change over the course of their childhood. For example, some children experience economic deprivation during early childhood but see their family's economic fortunes improve as they age, while others are born to economic stable or advantaged families but find their family's fortunes deteriorating as they grow older. Economic deprivation has its consequences in society. As a matter of fact, knowing the definition of the word itself helps us comprehend the real outcome on this catastrophe. Cultural deprivation theory was influential during the 1960s and 1970s. It was linked to ideas about the culture of poverty, the underclass, and to the idea of the cycle of poverty in which the values associated with being poor. Focusing on family stress and investment variables, family stress hypothesis results in higher levels of childhood poverty, predict conduct problems across time throughout increased parental stress, and punitive discipline. Consistent with the investment model, childhood deprivation was associated with higher levels of conduct problems via educational investment and cognitive ability. This motive is very important. There are many humans affected by this problem and by economic status. It's important to make possible solutions and take actions by performing and informing people about this. There is many data that can prove us that economic deprivation affects society, starting with data that is from a large-scale longitudinal study of schools based in disadvantaged communities in Quebec, Canada. Questionnaires were administered every year between 2002 and 2008. Among 14,924 students aged 12 to 18 from a sample of 70 schools. Cross-sectional and longitudinal analyses were conducted. Multi-level modeling was utilized to account for the clustering of students within schools. Schools were categorized as being low, moderate, or high economic deprivation, social fragmentation, and social cohesion. These three right here. Those who indicated that they do not participate in any physical activity during the week were identified as being physically inactive. Results have baseline multi-level cross-sectional analysis. Adolescents attending schools in the highest levels of socioeconomic deprivation and social fragmentation were more likely to be physically inactive. Having a discussion between youngsters help understand quite the position of this theme in young adults and examining individual and racial level effects of economic deprivation or partner violence among college students help in this investigation too. Three main hypotheses were tested: individual level economic deprivation, gross national income is associated with the mean rates of partner violence across nations, and the association between individual level economic deprivation and partner violence varies according to the economic national context as measured by gross national income. Data from 14,090 participants from 31 nations came across the international dating violence students that queried university students about violence in their relationships and relevant risk factors. A series of overly pressed Poisson hierarchical linear regression models were specified to test the hypothesis. Ability to make daily needs but not family income was associated with rate of partner violence. Gross national income was also associated with which means rates of partner violence across nations, as well as the relationship between ability to meet daily and partner violence and between family income and partner violence. The findings show the importance of context as indicated by national economic standing on rates of partner violence. But only do economically deprived individuals experience more partner violence, but those living in poorer nations experience more partner violence regardless of individual economic deprivations. 148 jobs were allocated to one of our four occupational subgroups: 47 unemployed with no access to paid work, 32 unemployed with access to some paid work, 30 unemployed with access to regular paid work, and 39 full employed. All participants were assessed for levels of economic deprivation, experiential deprivation, social loneliness, and physiological stress. Results indicated that economic deprivation, experiential deprivation varied according to occupational status, with those full-time employees having the least deprivation and those not attached to the workforce experiencing the most. Levels of deprivation were related to levels of physiological stress. Social loneliness also varied across the occupational groupings. The unemployed with access to regular paid work experienced the least social loneliness, the unemployed with no paid work experienced the most, and lastly, both economic and experiential deprivation were able to predict physiological distress. Only experiential deprivation was able to predict social loneliness. The world should not lose chances for change. Every human is capable of influence the future for the better and come out with possible solutions to local and global issues. Debating the different mentalities on which economic deprivation is viewed in society is always the best way to learn about the subject of a topic. Having an explanation of the social classes in society helps to visualize the idea of economic deprivation. And evaluation, sociology of culture. Cultural deprivation theory was influential during the 1960s and the 1970s. It was linked to ideas about the culture of poverty, the underclass, and to the idea of the cycle of poverty, in which the values associated with being poor, as I said earlier. Going back to the future adults, a cross-sectional survey design was conducted in two relatively affluent and two relatively deprived local authorities in London. Contrary to previous findings, participants were significantly more accepting of young pregnancy in the more affluent areas and if they were young parents. When controlling for other personnel characteristics, only age remained significantly related to acceptance, and there was evidence of an interaction between level of various deprivation and age. Economic deprivation is a crisis in our world today, and we need to do something to make a better society. There are many humans affected by economic status, and giving possible solutions can always make a better living. Thank you very much for your attention.